The legend of Buffalo and Eagle Wing is a captivating and multifaceted tale rooted in the rich oral traditions of the Plains Indians of North America. This narrative, embodying both origin myth and cautionary tale, underscores the significance of honor and the consequences of failing to keep one's promises. While the story itself is a compelling example of indigenous storytelling, the origins and cultural attributions of Buffalo and Eagle Wing remain shrouded in mystery. This uncertainty highlights broader issues of cultural preservation and loss that have plagued Native American communities, particularly in the context of the American Indian boarding schools. Buffalo and Eagle Wing is often associated with the Blackfoot Confederacy, but has also been linked to the Cherokee Nation. However, the exact tribal origin of the tale is elusive, reflecting a broader pattern of cultural erosion. The first English translation of the story is credited to Ella E. Clark, a prominent scholar and writer who focused on the oral traditions of North American Native peoples. Clark's translation came from a schoolboy's essay, a document that omitted crucial information about the tale's origins, further complicating efforts to pinpoint its cultural roots. The difficulty in assigning a definitive point of origin to Buffalo and Eagle Wing is largely due to the historical impact of American Indian boarding schools. These institutions, established to assimilate Native American children into Euro-American culture, played a significant role in the erasure of indigenous cultural practices, including storytelling. The Carlisle Indian Industrial School, founded in 1879, was a pioneering model for these assimilationist institutions. Its legacy of cultural suppression had a profound impact on Native communities, contributing to the loss of traditional stories and practices. Buffalo and Eagle Wing is a tale that weaves together themes of promise, honor, and the natural world. Although the specifics of the narrative vary depending on the version, the core elements remain consistent. The story typically begins with the emergence of Buffalo, a powerful and respected figure in the Plains Indian pantheon. Buffalo is often portrayed as a revered creature with deep connections to the land and its people. Eagle Wing, a prominent character in the legend, is usually depicted as a wise and honorable figure, embodying the ideals of loyalty and integrity. The relationship between Buffalo and Eagle Wing is central to the story, and their interactions serve as a vehicle for conveying important moral lessons. The narrative often explores themes such as the significance of keeping one's promises and the consequences of failing to do so. In many versions of the story, Buffalo and Eagle Wing engage in a pact or agreement that has significant implications for their communities. This pact is often symbolic of broader themes of cooperation and mutual respect. However, the story takes a dramatic turn when one party fails to uphold their end of the agreement. The repercussions of this breach serve as a cautionary tale, illustrating the far-reaching consequences of dishonoring one's commitments. The American Indian boarding schools, including the Carlisle Indian Industrial School and its many imitators, were established with the goal of eradicating Native American cultures and assimilating indigenous children into mainstream American society. The curriculum of these schools was designed to erase indigenous languages, customs, and traditions, replacing them with Euro-American values and practices. Students at these boarding schools were often subjected to harsh disciplinary measures, forced labor, and cultural suppression. The institutions operated under the belief that Native American cultures were inferior and needed to be replaced with Western ideals. This policy of cultural assimilation had a devastating impact on indigenous communities, leading to the loss of traditional knowledge, stories, and practices. Buffalo and Eagle Wing, like many other Native American stories, suffered from this cultural erosion. The narrative's missing provenance is a direct result of the boarding school's efforts to strip indigenous students of their cultural heritage. The tale, once a vital part of the oral tradition, became fragmented and its origins obscured, reflecting the broader patterns of cultural loss experienced by Native American communities. In the wake of the boarding school era, there has been a concerted effort among Native American communities to recover and preserve their cultural heritage. Organizations, scholars, and community leaders have worked tirelessly to revitalize traditional practices, languages, and stories. The preservation of legends like buffalo and eagle wing is part of a broader movement to reclaim and celebrate indigenous cultural identities. The work of scholars like Ella E. Clark and Margot Edmonds has been instrumental in documenting and translating Native American oral traditions. Their efforts have helped to preserve and share important cultural narratives, even as the challenges of cultural erosion persist. The story of buffalo and eagle wing, despite its fragmented origins, continues to be a source of cultural pride and a reminder of the resilience of Native American communities. Buffalo and eagle wing is more than just a story. It is a symbol of the enduring spirit of Native American cultures. The legend's themes of promise and honor resonate deeply within indigenous traditions and serve as a reminder of the values that have guided Native communities for generations. Despite the challenges posed by cultural assimilation and loss, the story of buffalo and eagle wing endures as a testament to the strength and resilience of indigenous peoples. The legacy of buffalo and eagle wing also highlights the importance of cultural preservation and the need to address the historical injustices inflicted upon Native American communities. As scholars, educators, and activists continue to work towards the recovery and celebration of indigenous cultures, the story of buffalo and eagle wing remains a powerful example of the enduring significance of oral traditions and the ongoing quest to reclaim and honor cultural heritage. The legend of buffalo and eagle wing is a poignant reflection of the complex history and cultural richness of the Plains Indians. The tale's uncertain origins, coupled with the broader context of cultural loss due to American Indian boarding schools, underscore the challenges faced by Native American communities in preserving their heritage. Despite these challenges, the story of buffalo and eagle wing endures as a powerful narrative that embodies the values and traditions of indigenous peoples. As we continue to explore and celebrate the rich tapestry of Native American oral traditions, it is essential to recognize and honor the resilience and contributions of indigenous cultures. The story of buffalo and eagle wing serves as both a reminder of the past and a beacon of hope for the future, reflecting the enduring strength and spirit of Native American communities. The assimilation policies implemented through American Indian boarding schools represent one of the darkest chapters in the history of Native American relations with the United States. These institutions, which began to proliferate in the late 19th century, were designed not only to convert Native Americans to Christianity, but to forcibly assimilate them into Euro-American culture. This approach, epitomized by the infamous motto, "Kill the Indian, save the man," sought to erase indigenous cultures and replace them with Western values and practices. The consequences of these policies were profound and far-reaching, leading to the loss of traditional knowledge, including the crucial art of storytelling, exemplified by the legend of buffalo and eagle wing. Missionary schools had been established in North America since the colonial period, with the aim of converting Native Americans to Christianity. These early efforts were often marked by a paternalistic attitude towards indigenous peoples, but the boarding school system represented a more systematic and aggressive approach to assimilation. Civil War veteran Richard Henry Pratt, who had served in the so-called Indian Wars, was a central figure in the creation of these institutions. After his service, Pratt was tasked with overseeing Native American prisoners at Fort Marion in St. Augustine, Florida. Here, he implemented a form of rigid discipline and assimilation that would later serve as the model for the Carlisle Indian Industrial School, which he founded in 1879. Pratt's philosophy, articulated through his notorious saying, "Kill the Indian, save the man," encapsulated the fundamental principles behind the boarding schools. He believed that by enforcing strict military discipline and stripping Native Americans of their cultural identities, they would be compelled to reject their backward traditions in favor of Euro-American norms. This belief was rooted in a worldview that considered Native cultures as inferior and in need of replacement by Western civilization. The boarding schools were designed to isolate Native American children from their families and communities, thereby severing their connections to their cultural heritage. Children were forcibly removed from their homes and placed in institutions far from their native lands. Upon arrival, they were subjected to a series of harsh measures intended to enforce assimilation. Traditional hairstyles and clothing were banned, and students were required to adopt Euro-American dress and hairstyles. The use of native languages was strictly prohibited, and any attempt to speak in their mother tongues was met with severe punishment. The curriculum at these schools was designed to instill Western values and practices. Boys were trained in agricultural and industrial work, while girls were taught domestic chores. The goal was to mold students into what was perceived as productive members of Euro-American society. However, this education was often superficial and not well suited to the needs of the native communities from which the children came. As a result, many students emerged from the boarding schools with skills that were of little use in their own communities, leading to a sense of dislocation and alienation. The boarding school system had a devastating impact on Native American cultures. The enforced abandonment of native languages and traditions led to a significant cultural loss. One of the most significant casualties of this policy was the tradition of storytelling, which was a central component of Native American cultural expression. Stories like Buffalo and Eagle Wing, which conveyed important moral lessons and cultural values, were at risk of being lost as students were stripped of their cultural heritage. Scholar Roxanne Dunbar Ortiz highlights the damaging effects of these policies, noting that the suppression of native languages and traditions, coupled with the indoctrination in Christianity, resulted in a loss of identity and cultural continuity. The boarding schools created generations of individuals who were disconnected from their roots and traumatized by their experiences. The gap left by this cultural erasure has had lasting effects on Native American communities, contributing to ongoing struggles with identity and cultural preservation. The legend of Buffalo and Eagle Wing serves as a poignant example of the cultural loss experienced by Native American communities due to the boarding school system. This story, which combines elements of origin myth and cautionary tale, reflects the rich oral traditions that were integral to Native cultures. The narrative's origins remain unclear due to the historical disruption caused by the boarding schools, but its content provides valuable insight into the values and beliefs of the Plains Indians. Buffalo and Eagle Wing is a tale that embodies themes of honor, promise, and the natural world. It illustrates the deep connection between Native peoples and their environment, as well as the moral lessons that were imparted through storytelling. The loss of such stories due to the boarding school policies represents not only a loss of individual narratives, but a broader cultural and spiritual disruption. Despite the efforts of the boarding schools to eradicate Native American cultures, there has been a resilient effort among indigenous communities to reclaim and revitalize their cultural heritage. The recovery of traditional stories, languages, and practices is a crucial part of this movement. Organizations, scholars, and community leaders are working to preserve and share indigenous knowledge, ensuring that the legacies of stories like Buffalo and Eagle Wing continue to be part of the cultural fabric of Native American life. The work of scholars such as Ella E. Clark and Margot Edmonds has been instrumental in documenting and translating Native American oral traditions. Their efforts help to preserve stories that might otherwise have been lost and provide valuable resources for cultural recovery. The revival of these traditions is a testament to the resilience of Native American communities and their commitment to honoring and sustaining their heritage. The story of Buffalo and Eagle Wing is more than just a narrative. It is a symbol of the cultural richness and resilience of Native American peoples. The impact of the boarding school system, with its efforts to erase indigenous cultures and enforce assimilation, has had profound and lasting effects on Native communities. The loss of traditional stories and practices, exemplified by the uncertain origins of Buffalo and Eagle Wing, highlights the broader challenges faced by indigenous peoples in preserving their cultural heritage. As we reflect on the legacy of the boarding school system and the ongoing efforts to reclaim and revitalize Native American cultures, it is essential to recognize and honor the enduring strength and spirit of indigenous communities. The story of Buffalo and Eagle Wing serves as a reminder of the importance of cultural preservation and the need to address historical injustices. Through continued efforts to recover and celebrate their heritage, Native American peoples are ensuring that their stories, traditions, and identities remain a vibrant and integral part of their cultural landscape. The legend of Buffalo and Eagle Wing, a tale steeped in the oral traditions of Native American cultures, stands as a testament to both the richness of indigenous storytelling and the profound impacts of historical forces that have sought to erase such traditions. Despite its frequent attribution to the Blackfoot or Cherokee nations, the true origins of this story remain ambiguous, reflecting broader issues of cultural preservation and displacement. The tale's uncertain provenance underscores the challenges faced in understanding and preserving Native American narratives, especially in the context of the cultural disruption caused by the boarding school system. Many reputable sources and organizations attribute Buffalo and Eagle Wing to the Blackfoot Confederacy. However, it is notable that the story does not appear in key Blackfoot collections, such as Blackfeet Indian Stories, edited by George Bird Grinnell, or Blackfeet Tales of Glacier National Park by James Willard Schultz. These scholars were intimately familiar with Blackfoot oral traditions and might have included such a significant story if it were genuinely part of their corpus. Similarly, the tale is sometimes attributed to the Cherokee by scholars such as Beth S. Caniglia, Thomas Jerome Burns, Rachel M. Gurney, and Eric L. Bond in Rise of Environmental Consciousness, Voices in Pursuit of a Sustainable Planet. Yet, the story does not appear in James Mooney's comprehensive Myths of the Cherokee, a collection compiled through his extensive interactions with the Cherokee Nation. Mooney's work is widely regarded as a seminal record of Cherokee folklore and would likely have included such an important narrative. The lack of inclusion in these definitive collections raises questions about the story's true origins. The absence of the tale in well-regarded anthologies and collections from the purported nations suggests that its attribution might be more a matter of convenience or assumption rather than historical accuracy. Literary criticism offers various approaches to understanding texts, including deconstructionism, which argues that establishing a fixed point of origin for a story is secondary to engaging with the text itself. From this perspective, the meaning of Buffalo and Eagle Wing lies in its content and thematic elements rather than its provenance. However, historians and anthropologists place significant value on the origins of stories as they offer insights into the cultures that produced them. The debate over the story's origins is not merely academic. It reflects deeper issues about how stories are interpreted and valued. For scholars focused on cultural heritage and preservation, identifying the source of a story provides critical context for understanding its significance within a particular cultural framework. The challenge in pinpointing the origin of Buffalo and Eagle Wing highlights broader issues related to the documentation and preservation of Native American oral traditions. The historical backdrop of the boarding school system provides crucial context for understanding the cultural loss associated with the tale. These institutions, established with the aim of assimilating Native American children into Euro-American culture, had a profound impact on indigenous communities. Richard Henry Pratt's establishment of the Carlisle Indian Industrial School in 1879 marked the beginning of a system designed to eradicate Native American cultures and replace them with Western values and norms. At these schools, Native American children were subjected to harsh measures intended to sever their ties to their cultural heritage. They were prohibited from speaking their native languages, practicing their traditions, and even identifying with their tribes. This systematic approach to assimilation led to a significant loss of cultural knowledge and traditions, including the oral storytelling traditions that were central to many Native American cultures. The tale of Buffalo and Eagle Wing, with its missing provenance, serves as a poignant example of the cultural erosion caused by these institutions. The fact that the story's origins are unknown, coupled with the knowledge that the student who recorded it was prohibited from identifying his nation, underscores the extent of cultural disruption experienced by Native American communities. Despite the damage inflicted by the boarding school system, there has been a strong effort among Native American communities to reclaim and revitalize their cultural heritage. Institutions, such as the Haskell Indian Nations University, which once operated under the boarding school model but now champions Native American sovereignty, play a crucial role in preserving and promoting indigenous cultures. These schools are now transparent about their pasts and work to support the cultural revival of Native American communities. The ongoing efforts to recover traditional stories, languages, and practices are vital for preserving Native American cultural heritage. Organizations and scholars are working to document and share indigenous knowledge, ensuring that stories like Buffalo and Eagle Wing continue to be part of the cultural fabric of Native American life. This cultural reclamation is not only about preserving stories, but also about affirming the resilience and identity of Native American communities. The story of Buffalo and Eagle Wing is part of a larger historical narrative involving the displacement and disempowerment of Native American nations. The boarding school system was just one aspect of a broader set of policies aimed at undermining indigenous cultures and enforcing assimilation. Native American nations repeatedly asked for their treaties with the U.S. government to be honored, yet their demands were consistently ignored. The historical injustices faced by Native American communities have had lasting effects, contributing to ongoing struggles for cultural preservation and self-determination. The legend of Buffalo and Eagle Wing represents both the richness of Native American oral traditions and the profound impacts of historical forces that have sought to erase such traditions. The story's uncertain origins reflect broader challenges related to cultural preservation and the effects of the boarding school system. While the precise provenance of the tale remains elusive, its significance lies in its ability to highlight the cultural losses experienced by Native American communities and the ongoing efforts to reclaim and revitalize their heritage. As we reflect on the legacy of the boarding school system and the broader historical context, it is essential to recognize and honor the resilience of Native American communities. The story of Buffalo and Eagle Wing serves as a reminder of the importance of cultural preservation and the need to address historical injustices. Through continued efforts to recover and celebrate their heritage, Native American peoples are ensuring that their stories, traditions, and identities remain a vibrant and integral part of their cultural landscape. The legend of Buffalo and Eagle Wing is a rich and intricate tale from the oral traditions of Native American cultures, encapsulating themes of betrayal, transformation, and the moral weight of promises. This story, which has been attributed to various tribes, such as the Blackfoot and Cherokee, offers a poignant narrative that reflects the profound values and worldviews of its originating culture. Although its precise origins remain ambiguous, the tale provides valuable insights into the consequences of breaking promises and the shifts in the natural world as a metaphor for moral and ethical changes. In the tale, we are introduced to a time before the earth was shaped by natural impediments. The narrative begins in an idyllic landscape where mountains, hills, and valleys are smooth and untroubled. This pristine environment symbolizes a world of simplicity and harmony, free from the obstacles that later come to characterize human existence. The absence of stones and the ease of travel underscore the initial state of unblemished natural order, setting the stage for the forthcoming transformation. At the heart of the story is Buffalo, a majestic figure who possesses the extraordinary ability to transform the world around him. This magical power, derived from his association with water, symbolizes the fluid and dynamic nature of existence. Buffalo's role in the tale is not only as a transformative agent, but also as a figure embodying the interconnectedness between nature and human beings. Buffalo's transformation of the mountain into a stone highlights his influence over the natural world. The mountain's desire to become a formidable obstacle reflects a shift in how natural elements interact with humans. By granting the mountain the power to change itself, Buffalo introduces the concept of resistance and challenge into the previously unobstructed landscape. This transformation foreshadows the challenges that will arise later in the story, both for the characters and the natural world. Buffalo's journey leads him to an encounter with an old woman and her grandson, a moment that establishes a personal connection between the buffalo and the human characters. The old woman's wish to remain with her grandson and be transformed into something that ensures their perpetual companionship underscores themes of loyalty and love. Buffalo's willingness to grant their desires further illustrates his benevolence and the deep bonds that can form between different beings. Buffalo's promise to teach the boy to run swiftly in exchange for a pledge not to hunt buffaloes introduces the central conflict of the tale. The boy's promise symbolizes a moral and ethical commitment that will later be tested. The transformation of the grandmother into wind, allowing her to follow the boy wherever he goes, represents the fulfillment of Buffalo's promise and the deep connection between the characters. As the boy matures into Eagle Wing, he becomes a celebrated leader among his people due to his extraordinary speed. This achievement, however, comes at the cost of the promise he made to Buffalo. The chief's offer to adopt Eagle Wing as his son and make him the future chief of the tribe represents the ultimate temptation and the lure of power. The promise made to the buffaloes is overshadowed by Eagle Wing's ambition and desire for personal gain. Eagle Wing's decision to break his promise and hunt the buffaloes represents a critical moral failing. His actions lead to a significant shift in the story's trajectory, introducing the theme of retribution and the consequences of betrayal. The buffalo's reaction to the hunting spree, losing his transformative powers and being unable to punish the hunters directly, illustrates the limits of his influence and the complexity of the moral universe within the tale. In response to Eagle Wing's betrayal, Buffalo collaborates with Stone, which has been transformed from the mountain he once admired. Stone's decision to scatter itself and create obstacles for travelers symbolizes the natural consequences of moral failings. The transformation of the land into a place filled with stones and thorny bushes serves as a tangible representation of the difficulties and suffering that result from broken promises. The story concludes with Eagle Wing and his followers experiencing the physical consequences of their actions, injuries and difficulties caused by the newly transformed landscape. This final segment of the tale serves as a powerful metaphor for the broader implications of betrayal and the enduring impact of ethical decisions. The story of Buffalo and Eagle Wing carries profound cultural and moral implications. The emphasis on the importance of keeping promises reflects a core value in many Native American traditions, where integrity and trustworthiness are highly esteemed. The tale also serves as a reminder of the interconnectedness between humans and the natural world, illustrating how ethical breaches can disrupt the balance of both. While the specific origin of the tale remains uncertain, its themes resonate across various Native American cultures, highlighting universal values and concerns. The story's depiction of transformation and the consequences of betrayal underscores the moral complexity of human actions and their impact on the world around us. The tale's significance is further underscored by its historical context, particularly in relation to the impact of boarding schools on Native American cultures. The loss of cultural narratives like Buffalo and Eagle Wing due to the assimilation policies of these institutions reflects a broader pattern of cultural erosion. The story's ambiguous origins highlight the challenges faced in preserving and understanding indigenous traditions amidst historical upheavals. Efforts to recover and document Native American oral traditions are crucial for maintaining cultural heritage and ensuring that stories like Buffalo and Eagle Wing continue to be part of the collective memory. The ongoing work of scholars, cultural advocates, and indigenous communities plays a vital role in preserving these narratives and addressing the historical injustices inflicted upon Native American peoples. The legend of Buffalo and Eagle Wing is a rich and multifaceted tale that offers valuable insights into Native American cultural values, moral teachings, and the consequences of broken promises. While the precise origins of the story remain elusive, its themes of transformation, betrayal, and retribution resonate across various cultural contexts. The tale serves as a poignant reminder of the importance of ethical conduct and the enduring impact of moral decisions on both individuals and the natural world. As we continue to explore and celebrate indigenous narratives, it is essential to recognize and honor the resilience of Native American cultures and their efforts to reclaim and preserve their heritage.